Assalamu alaikum. Now I'm doing a duplicate video here because I want to explain a few things from a few different angles. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brief you, and anybody who wants to skip this, I'm going to do a lot of talking in this video. So if anybody wants to skip this because they find the talk boring, then I suggest you exit now. For all those who want to pay, this is valuable advice. So anyone who wants to gain the inner knowledge, then I would suggest watch this video carefully and learn from the silly mistakes that we often make. Okay, so I have a request to make a number of outfits. They're for a wedding, and I'm gonna sort of describe how the customers have gone through the process of buying the fabrics and so on, and what difficulties they faced, and then how you can go about avoiding those difficulties, so that if you have something similar in mind, then how you need to prepare yourself and what to look out for. Okay, so the customers, they've got a family wedding. They want to make, there's 5 of them, and they want to make all similar outfits. They've chosen this peach, very very pretty lace net, and it's got embroidery, and it's also got this kundan work and pearls attached on. The kundan has been glued on and the pearls have been embroidered on into the floral outlets. It's a very pretty fabric. It's a quite an expensive fabric, and they've bought 31 meters or 30 meters of this fabric. The retail price of this varies according to different shops, but the end result is not according to the net, but ultimately the making and how you combine this. So basically what I'm going to try and do is explain the difficulties that you can face when you choose something like this, and you have a preset image in your mind of how you want this making. Now there are lots and lots of things to avoid when you buy something like this, and you know, you have to pay a very close attention to stuff like this. Now when the customers bought this in, they bought a fabric for lining, and there was 2 problems that instantly I noticed, and I actually refused to touch the fabric because I was totally against the purchase that they made. Okay, so I actually returned that fabric with them, but I do have a sample which is actually a slightly better color than what they bought. Well, basically they bought, I've no idea what I've done with it. It was just a small piece. Anyway, if I come across it, I'll show you what it's like. It was a satin which is of the worst quality that you can buy. It is a satin which doesn't have a fall and tends to have a lot of koon in it. It has a lot of angled cut, so if you tore it, it will sort of lose its shape and it would not sit straight. Now when you've got fabrics like that and you combine it with a fabric like this, the end result is not going to depend on this but what you've used underneath it. So if the fall of this is going one way and if your lining is going another way, you've lost the whole idea, you've lost the whole plot, really. And this is something that I am totally adamantly against. If you're going to match, I mean, to be honest, I don't even stock silk like that because it's of such a bad quality. Sometimes you're stuck and you can't buy anything else, and then you've got no choice but to buy that. So there has been instances where I've bought silk of that quality, but it's a silk that's it's retailed, a wholesale price of that silk is, believe it or not, 65 pence plus VAT a meter. This is when I used to buy it for the shops, and most shops retail that at £1 or 125, and it's a disgusting quality. I mean, it's not something, it has a lot of static, it doesn't flow, and it doesn't have the right cut. So if you've got something like this, which is like 35 pounds a meter, and if you're lucky, you're going to get it 20 pounds or 18 pounds, and if you're very, very lucky, which these ladies were, they got it at a wholesale price. They were very fortunate. It is a very costly and pricey net. So why would you, in the name of heaven, want to pair this off with a nasty silk like that? So instantly when I saw that silk, my quick response was, I'm sorry, but I can't touch this. I'm not going to sew this, because this is like ruining my reputation and wasting your money. It's no way going to go together. So I refused that. So then I got the job given of sourcing the fabric out. So it's taken me a long time to source all this. I trailed around quite a few places. The customers themselves trailed all the way down to Bradford, all the way down to Manchester. They'd gone to Blackburn, and they actually really found nothing. In the end, we were fortunate to find some jamawar fabric, which is this one, and this is like a, you can't actually tell on the camera, it doesn't really do it much justice, but this is like a peach and a grey contrast. And then we also got this jamawar, which is more of a peachy look. Now we went for two different because we couldn't get enough to do the whole lot in the one. The styles that they've chosen do require a lot of fabric. So anyway, so they've got a whole lot of net of this. Then we bought two different jamawar fabrics, multiple lengths. And then I went around, because they went and sourced out some dupatta fabric, which was of this duller color, and it actually didn't do anything for the outfits. So I found this beautiful chiffon, which is the two-tone, and the color of this is absolutely spot on. So I bought a whole roll of this just to make the dupattas, and also some of the dresses need to be very flowy, so I would like to make some of the dresses out of this. Now the other things that we bought along with this is some pearl lace and some of this peach lace. Now this one we could only get 20 meters, which is not really enough, and then the pearl one we bought quite a lot because we want to really edge all the, so combined all this and all the sourcing or all the headache, it's a big nightmare. It's very demanding, it's very time consuming. So my advice is that if you're going to make outfits, if you're going to choose a net like this, be very careful and source the rest of the items before you go and commit yourself to buying something like this. It's not a simple process that you can go and buy, because here in the UK one of the biggest problems you've got is you may buy a net, but then finding everything else to go with it proves to be very difficult. So you could end up looking, and especially if you're stuck with time span. Then the next thing to bear in mind is, okay, you're buying the fabrics, what designs are you choosing? So the problem here now is they've chosen several different designs, and sometimes all these designs, they unfortunately cannot be sewn in the fabrics. I mean, obviously the designers have gone for these designs based on the fabrics that they've chosen. So if you're going to choose some other fabric and expect the design to fall like this, then you're going to have serious problems. So bear in mind the design that you have and what you're trying to achieve at the end result, and also have a very open mind, because often the problems that you're going to face is what you see in the picture is not what you're going to get. So you're going to have serious problems because the pictures are models wearing these. Unfortunately, we don't have model figures. Unfortunately, our background, our whole layout, the whole thing is not like the models. So don't be deceived and pre-plan and think that, just as it looks on the model, I'm going to dress the same and it's going to come out. Be prepared to face difficulties. So end advice is, if you haven't got the ability to stitch these yourself, don't waste your time in purchasing the fabrics and purchasing all the accessories and be disappointed. Go for the ready-made option because it's a safe option. Okay, so I've stopped one of the videos. Anyway, I'm going to see, I'm recording on two multiple cameras because I'm trying to see which is going to come out better. So my end advice is, yes, these will come out beautiful, but don't expect that, you know what, I'm going to get something like this and I'm going to get designed. Be prepared to spend a huge amount of money, because by the time you've bought your net, by the time you've bought all your trimmings, all your, you know, all the accessories, all the bits and bats, the end result can end up costing you quite a bit, and you can end up with a disappointment. So best option is to go source out your suits and buy them as ready-made, because with those at least you can see upfront what you're buying. With this, you're leaving it in the hands of somebody else, or you're leaving it in the hands of your own self if you're sewing yourself, where you'll have more chances of perfecting it, and you'll value it more as well if you sew it yourself. But when you're getting these done by an outsider and you're paying quite a, you know, generally you're paying what, 25, 30, 40, 50 pounds per suit. Now when it's designers like these, let me tell you, they're not charging 25 and 30 and 40 pounds. These garments actually run into hundreds, and there's a reason for that, why they run into hundreds, because people have spent a lot of time to make it look perfect. And to make it look perfect, you need your person who you're sewing for, you need to time and time again test them and test the garments on them and get it perfect. And then you need to go out and spend days on, I mean, I spent 2 half days out sourcing these fabrics, trailing around all over the place. And you know, often people will not take on tasks like this. The only reason obviously I take on tasks like this is because I want to teach from them, and I want to offer the advice to viewers who appreciate it. So yes, I will get the dislikes on this video, I will get the comments, but without this backdrop knowledge, I'm sorry to say, you're not going to get very far. So if you want to avoid purchasing, like this lady, she's actually come to me after she's purchased the net, after she's purchased the lining, after she's even gone and purchased the dupattas. So what's basically happened is, this is a wasted money. The 20-30 yards of silk that she bought for lining these, that's wasted money. And I know in the back of her head this was going through, oh, I wasted so much, you know what, I've gone and bought unnecessary stuff, can you not use this? And she was coming back to me and saying, can I not use that? And personally I wouldn't touch that, because my reputation's online. Those items that she's bought are totally not suitable. A good designer will tell you prior to sewing them that, you know what, I'm sorry, but this and this do not fall together. This design is not going to come out. I mean, like the silk that they bought, this is like a taffeta silk, it's a stiffer silk, where a skirt like that is obviously coming out because the designers have taken into consideration what they're creating out of that. So unless your designer knows what fabric to create, what garment to create out of what fabric, you're at a loss. So you need to be very careful. Yes, she is.
How do you get inside?
Oh, she comes inside all the time. So anyway, that's just some ideas for you and some advice for you. The next thing we're going to do is, hopefully we're going to go on to the designing of these outfits, which is one of the reasons why I've taken this multitask on, and I'm doing these wedding outfits. I do hope to do justice to these, and I hope that if you follow the procedure, if you follow the method, if you do your sourcing right, then you know what, yes, you can create something like this. Yes, you will know how to purchase the right things, the right amounts, and how to structure your whole garment making process. So if you go and buy the wrong things for, you know, if you bought the net, you've liked the net, but then if you've chosen a design which actually doesn't suit that fabric, then you know what, you'll be wasting your time. So that's all the background. I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be using with what, and exactly how much of what we'll be using for each of those. So inshallah, take care, and I will talk again soon.